Right on par today. What the heck's going on? There we go. Hello out there. We're on the air. Holy cow. Finally. My goodness. What a crap show. You ever have a morning where like literally nothing goes right? Like zero for 50? Holy man. And it's still not even right. We're still not even right here. I like this though. Good morning. That's good material, man. Anyways, the thing that's not right is I still have something in my eye and I can't get it out. So we're going to do our best. Man, we've had some battles on the show lately. Have we ever? Holy cow. And we got hair in our coffee too. Arnie boy. My God, man. Arn, what do you have to say for yourself? Nothing, apparently. Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Hopefully you're having a better morning than I am. But anyways, we're here. We're here and we're happy to be here. I do have to do one thing here, I believe. I think I have to top up my Zapstream balance. But we'll do that right away. So let's get to a couple comments here. Let's see who is here and who is not here. Buck52 is here. Abracadabra. What's that mean? Beat Killer for the first chat of the day. But good morning, Killer. Good morning, Paul. Hocus Pocus gang. What's going on with the magic stuff today? What did I miss? I'm out of the loop. I'm very out of the loop, apparently. Holy man. Frank is here. Everything divided by 21 million. Everything. I'm gonna exemplify that every time. Everything. Every asset. Look around you. Take a look right now. Take a look around you right this second. I see a lot. I see a deck. I see a light from Chroma. I see a webcam. I see a MacBook. I see a couple phones. I see another laptop. I see a microphone. I see a cup of coffee. Every single thing on this planet is going to be repriced in Satoshis. Everything divided by 21 million. Actually, better yet, everything divided by 2.1 quadrillion sats. You might have to change that, Frank. Everything divided by 2.1 QS. But yes, sats are definitely still affordable. That is without a doubt. Ginger's here. Good morning, Ginger. Good to see you, man. Good joining. We'll revisit that because it's a good comment. Frank, everything divided by 2.1 quadrillion sats says 21 million coins at 21 million price at 21 years growing at 21% ARR with 21% volatility. Pretty easy to remember, but I don't think he's wrong. I don't think he's right. I think he's wrong. I think it's going to be much higher than $21 million in 21 years from now. Much. You know why? Because once we get to 1 million, which won't take very long, again, in fiat terms, fiat is not a measurement. Why am I so blurry? Hello. There we go. Abracadabra. Where was I there? Yeah, I mean, once we get to $1 million in fiat per Bitcoin, that's going to be 1 sat equals 1 cent. And at that point, it's going to go from 1 cent to 2 cents. And then it's going to go from 2 cents to 5 cents, just like a penny stock. And then it's going to go to 10 cents and then 21 and then 50. And every time it goes up 1 cent in terms of sats, that's going to be $1 million going up. So I think that is incredibly bearish from Saylor, and I was kind of disappointed. But at the same time, Google's trying to get me to do hand gestures on here. Get out of here. At the same time, I think that it's probably a good thing that he's a little bit conservative because he's got a pretty big audience. And so you always want to lean on the side of, unless you're trying to make a splash. And as they say on the YouTube comments nowadays, clickbait. Clickbait's the new buzzword of the Bitcoin world, it seems, on YouTube especially. Everything's clickbait. Oh, I got you to watch this video. Clickbait. Kev, good morning. Kev009, good morning. Good morning. Timber Crasher's here. Good morning, Timber Crasher. Santino, Johnny Midas, and Clark says, how do I explain mortgages and everything will one day be on the blockchain to a boomer invested in real estate heavily? And how do I explain to them why Bitcoin will be the best place to park cash? Well, number one, I'd say don't worry about explaining why mortgages will be on the blockchain, because that's not really too relevant here. It might be, but it also might not be. That doesn't really matter. But the next point here is, how do I explain to them why Bitcoin will be the best place to park cash? It won't be. It already is the best place to park cash. All you have to explain to them is that the only reason why your house has gone up in value is because they printed money. Houses, real estate, for the most part, unless you have like oceanfront property or like very scarce farmland, real estate for the most part is basically kept up with inflation. You could look at a chart of real estate and a chart of inflation, and they would pretty much be exactly in line with each other. So that's not that great. Plus, it's a leaky battery. It leaks. It has property taxes. It has maintenance costs. Once you get a bit of a reserve built up in your real estate, all of a sudden you need a new roof, and then your reserve's gone. It has leaks everywhere in it. And Bitcoin's returned 50 to 60% every year for the last 10 years. So, I mean, they'll figure it out eventually. And when they do figure it out, this is kind of what I mentioned on Joey's show that we did yesterday. Yeah, Josh. Josh says 8,888 sats. Josh comes in hot this morning with a fatty, a legendary zap. Thank you, my friend. And he said, the Carnster sends his regards from Ottawa. Thank you, Josh. You are the man. Let's let Zapstream know here. And let's see what happens. We are live, baby. Well, we got a good show today. I got a couple different things I want to talk about. We got Arnie in the house. We are a little bit late, but we will make up for it today. So yeah, that's what I'd say. And that's what I was going to say on what we were talking about on Joey's show yesterday, which was real estate itself. Where was I going with that? I don't know. Who knows? Oh, that's what it was. Because he was talking about the fact that Bitcoin's price is going to go up because of the money printing. They're going to print a bunch of cash because they have to, which is true. But that's not going to be good for us. It's just not. And that's, I think, what a lot of Bitcoiners get wrong, especially Bitcoiners who are somewhat newer here. They think that the only reason why Bitcoin's going to go up is because they're going to print a bunch of money. And that's true. Like, that's legitimate. But I'll tell you this. If they print a bunch of money, Bitcoiners break even. Bitcoiners aren't going to be ahead. They're not going to be behind. It's basically like housing, if that's the only thing that was happening here. But it's not. All of this money from real estate, from the bond market, from the stock market, from gold, all of this, there's $450 trillion worth of assets that people aren't using, non-utility assets. That's all going to flow into Bitcoin. So the demand, that's what's going to shoot up. But that's only going to be a part of it too. Remember the green light theory? Yes, they might buy some Bitcoin, but they're also going to sell it. Not everybody who buys Bitcoin on day one has the conviction to hold on to this asset. And it's the hodlers, it's the people who have the conviction and have their green light turned on. That's the ones that are really going to drive this price up. Because as that capital flows out of the real estate, bonds, stocks, gold, as that flows into it, plus you have new people adopting Bitcoin as a technology and as a way to get paid, the number of people, the top number there, the people who want Bitcoin, that's the top number. divided by the amount of Bitcoin that's available. As that top number grows, that drives the price up, or the purchasing power of each sat over time. So that's what we have to remember here. Is it's not just the money printer that causes Bitcoin to go up. It does, but that's not good for Bitcoiners. That just makes us break even, because even though Bitcoin's going up, so is the price of everything else. So that's just an artificial price pump. But the real purchasing power, the real increase in purchasing power, comes from demand going up, the green light coming on, conviction, having conviction, and all this money flowing out of the $450 trillion market. Abracadabra, I create as I speak. Nice. Clark says everything. Yes, everything. Every single thing will be divided by 2.1 quadrillion Satoshis. Everything. RJ, Randy, good morning. Clark says, quick, what's everyone's favorite Bitcoin wallet? Well, we don't have to be quick. We're never in a rush around here. Let's talk about it. What kind of wallet are you looking for? Lightning wallet, hardware wallet, mobile wallet, desktop wallet? What are you looking for here? Do you want to have the keys inside the wallet, or do you want to have the keys generated somewhere else? Do you want it to be online? Do you want it to be offline? Do you want to be able to pay for things, or do you want to be able to save? Lots of different questions there. There's no real one best wallet. Well, there is, and it's Sparrow. But there's still different layers to that. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Frank changed his name and sent in his out. That is legendary status right there, my friends. Everything divided by 2.1 quadrillion sats. That's what we're talking about. That is what we're talking about. Frank, thank you, my friend. So if you are interested in supporting the channel today, like Frank, like Josh, you can either scan the QR code on the screen there, or you can actually send, I don't know where Frank sent it to, maybe to this wallet, or Arnie's. Arnie's is the one on screen. That's where Frank sent it to. Arnie, you got some sats. Arnie, say thank you to Frank. Freaking guy. So you can do it to the Speed app too. That's our new wallet here. Oh, Harn. Okay, so Gray says, per Jack Mullers, in the Great Depression, dollars were tied to gold and equities dropped 89%. From 2000 to 2011, stocks also dropped 89% priced in gold. We had another Great Depression and we didn't even know it. Really? From 2000 to 2011, stocks dropped 89%. I did not know that. Oh, against gold. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. And gold is the true measurement there. Cold Card Q, I would agree to that. That would be a hardware device. I don't know if that'd be a wallet. A wallet would be Sparrow that you connect with your Cold Card Q. Kind of important to, point out the differences there, I think, anyways. That's, one of the realizations I had after being in Bitcoin for 3 years, I just kind of called everything a Bitcoin wallet, whether it was a Cold Card, Moon wallet, everything. I just kind of referred to them all as wallets. But in reality, these things are just signing devices. That's what you have to think about these as, signing devices. So if it's your mobile phone, if it's your desktop computer that you use, if it's a Cold Card Q, if it's a Jade, those are all signing devices. And the reason why they're called signing devices is because you actually need the device to sign a transaction, to verify the fact that you actually have the keys to that Bitcoin. So hardware wallets like a Cold Card or a Jade, they also generate keys offline. There's different layers to it, I guess you'd say, but yeah. So Clark, let us know what kind of wallet that you're looking for, if you're still here or if you're still stream lagged. Okay, no problem. You'll catch up. Josh says the best hot wallet is the blue wallet. The best cold wallet is the Jade. I would say the best hot wallet is either a Sparrow wallet on your desktop or Aqua wallet on your mobile. And the best cold wallet, in my opinion, is a Cold Card Q. But everybody's different. Everybody has different needs, different wants, different desires in life. Nunchuck is a good one, says Jake. I've never used Nunchuck before. Probably should. How much wood would a nunchuck chuck if a nunchuck could chuck wood? That's the question. Okay, let's get to it here. Hey, Sergio's here. Wow, look at that. Our guy. Sergio has entered the chat. Where should we begin today, folks? Where should we begin? Oh shit, I didn't. I'll do it quickly here. I want to start with this one. I like this. I like this one a lot. Memes. Another good meme. Okay, so let's go to Proton Drive. Let's go to Bitcoin, I guess. We'll put it there. Upload. Okay. Let me get this going here. Sergio, look at this. Fat Zap from Sergio. Not even on Fat Zap Friday today. Love that. 2,100 sats from our guy Sergio. Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much. Okay, how do I get to my drive from here? Sergio, you're in for a good show today, man. I'm in a wild mood. You never know what's going to happen today, especially. You never really know what's going to happen in general on this show, but today especially. Proton Drive. There we go. Look at this. We got the man himself, Otis Hare Jr., the king, the best name in Bitcoin, in my opinion. If you can find me a better name than Otis Hare Jr. in Bitcoin, I would love to see it. Okay, so here's the meme I was talking about. Here's the meme we're going to start the show with today. I don't know if you can see this very well or not. Let's start with the top. Okay, so it says, I like this. Coffee, you're my only friend. As I drink a coffee. But I wouldn't say that because at least I got Arnie here. Coffee, you're my only friend. Coffee says, blow up the central bank. Guy says, too dark. Pour some milk in it. It says, run a Bitcoin node and be your own bank. Perfect. That is a perfect meme. Too dark. Okay, look at this. We got a huge crowd today on the Zapstream. Zapstream, what's up? Let us know where you're at. Let us know what Nostr client that you're watching this on. And don't forget to like, don't forget to love, and don't forget to zap. Because you can. Just like Sergio, just like Josh, just like Frank. Clark says, I'm looking for two things. One secure from seizure and the central bank digital currency era, and one to trade in and out for crappy fiat when needed. So the thing I would say about the first one, you want to be secure. I would say Cold Card is the most secure option. Cold Card Q connected to a Sparrow wallet in a single sig with a passphrase is a pretty good start. Make sure you keep the passphrase in your 24 words in a separate location. Don't ever lose the passphrase, because if you lose the passphrase, you lose your Bitcoin. From there, you kind of move up to Cold Card Q, maybe 3 Cold Card Qs and a multi-sig, maybe a Cold Card Q, maybe a Passport, maybe a Jade, maybe even a Trezor in there, multi-sig. And then from there, you go to encryption, and you actually have all 3 of your devices in 3 different locations, and all of your private keys are actually geographically dispersed and encrypted using QR codes and a passphrase. So that's kind of where you want to get to. I think that a single sig with a passphrase is a pretty good start. But again, make sure you keep your passphrase and your words separate, and don't ever lose your passphrase. and then just kind of build on top of that. And the nice thing about that setup, the one I talked about with the encryption, is that number one, you can do that in a way where nobody else has a copy of your keys. You don't have to trust somebody else holding your keys. Nobody else knows how much Bitcoin you have. And you can basically have zero trace of Bitcoin in your house using that. If you have encryption, if you have them geographically dispersed, then you're kind of immune from fires, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, $5 wrench attacks, the government showing up at your door. That's where you want to get to. So you keep about 95% of your stack there. And then you keep about 5% in an Aqua wallet. So you can go to aqua.net. You can download a mobile wallet there called Aqua. And that's what you can keep at your house. That's what you keep in your pocket. That's what you can use to send Bitcoin to. You can spend out of it. You can swap back and forth with Lightning, with USDT. It's a very versatile wallet there. So those are the two different wallets or two different setups that I would say. And kind of at the end of that, you'd want to have 95% of your stack kind of set up long-term in a multi-sig encrypted. And then you have about 5% of your stack on an Aqua wallet or another device that's on at your house. But other than that, that's kind of all you want to have. That's the perfect Bitcoin setup, in my opinion. Sergio is watching on the Zap stream. So Sergio, is that on your desktop or is that on your mobile device? Because Zapstream now has an app. I saw and downloaded. And then Night 99 is watching from No Strudel. That's a great option. I love No Strudel. Where are we here? Okay, let's keep it rolling. Otis says you can go live on Nostr. Yes, you can. Pretty easily, actually. Basically, all you do is you connect your I think it's your stream URL and your stream key from Zapstream. You plug that into wherever you're broadcasting from. In my case, would be StreamYard, and then you just go. You got to fund it with some sats. I don't even know what it costs anymore, but it costs me usually about 500 sats per show to stream on there. Randy says, if you're in the US, use Fold for fiat when needed. Debit card with Bitcoin rewards with a built-in custodial wallet. Can transfer Bitcoin to the debit card instantly, zero fees, or withdraw to a cold wallet. Nice. Yeah, I've heard lots of good things about Fold. I've heard lots of good things about Fold. Frank says Aqua Wallet is seed words and can also use a passphrase. I did not know that. I did not know that you could use a passphrase with your Aqua Wallet. Would that be just to log into it? I'm guessing. Yeah, that would make sense. So you'd probably need a passphrase to actually enter the app. Is that kind of what you're getting at, Frank? Sergio says, I use my mobile. I can play in the background and still scroll Nostr. Nice. Nice. That's awesome. Yes, the mobile app for Zapstream is now available. Looks like this. No Good Radio at the top. Stardust is streaming. And you can see George on there. 73 viewers. That's got to be some sort of a record. But it looks like some of our YouTube friends have gone over to Zapstream. That's perfect. What more could you ask for? Fold sucks, says MHMA. Fold sucks. Frank says, I haven't set it up yet. I learned that yesterday. Interesting. What I do want to know is, has anybody here tried Bitrefill before? I think I'm going to be doing a little series or something on Bitrefill because I was exploring last night and I was very impressed. Why the fuck am I so blurry here today? There we go. I was blown away by how many options they have on there for actually using your Bitcoin to buy gift cards with. And, you know, if you're somebody who, like me, who likes to avoid the fiat system as much as possible, you can basically set up an account on Bitrefill and you can buy gift cards on there fully non-KYC, and you can fund it and obviously buy them with Bitcoin. So I think I'll try here in a second. I'll try to get a referral code for everybody because I think you get like $5 worth of free Bitcoin if you use a link. So I'll get that in like 5 minutes here for you while I'm yapping. Bitrefill. But yeah, Bitrefill, they've been around for a long time. I've used them before. But it's, if you're somebody who has sats that are non-KYC sats, however you obtain those, Bitrefill is a really solid option to not have to cash out to the fiat system and worry about the tax consequences of that. Although I will also say that it sounds like the US is leading the way in getting rid of any sort of taxes on small Bitcoin purchases. Kind of what I've been saying all along is you really have to pay attention to thresholds in Bitcoin, in anything. That's kind of a good rule in life, is just keep everything under the thresholds of anybody caring about it, right? Like obviously if you sell $50,000 worth of Bitcoin, probably somebody's going to ask you some questions about it. But if you spent $100 50,000 times, you know what I'm saying? So Bitrefill, I want everybody to check it out because there's going to be something that even when I literally eat at this restaurant every single week of my life. Every time I go into the city, I eat at this restaurant because it's one of our sponsors for the golf league. And I could buy gift cards on Bitrefill with Bitcoin and completely go around the system, if you know what I'm saying. And I think you know what I'm saying. Okay, so let me share this link with you, guys and girls. There it is. Boom. Send. All right. So yeah, that's pretty good news. Taxes are going to disappear for sure on the Bitcoin because it makes sense. Why would you pay taxes on a currency? If I go over to the US and swap my fake Canadian dollars for fake US dollars, I don't have to pay a capital gain when I come back. If I only spent half it, I'm not paying a capital gain on that. Nobody is. So why would I pay capital gains on Bitcoin? It doesn't make any sense. So it sounds like either way, we're going to get some clarity over it, which, you can kind of think what you want about clarity, but I really believe that we're going to be trending towards you're going to pay zero taxes on Bitcoin. So until then, you hold on to it or you use Bitrefill, and don't be an idiot. Don't be a dipshit, I should say. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about here is what? Mortgages. Hold on. What do we got here? Randy says, I've earned millions of sats on Fold. I feel you, man. I've earned millions of sats on ShakePay. I pretty much pay for everything with ShakePay, Visa. And every time I get 1% back in sats. And my theory is that one day, like, I think it was, so I bought something like significant one day. Tires, I think it was. I always go back to the tires. I did a lot of Bitcoin finagling with my tires this year. But anyways, I paid for my tires with my ShakePay Visa card. So I think they cost about $2,000. And so I would have got back like, I don't even know, 20, 30,000 sats for that purchase. And my theory is that one day the sats that I got back from the transaction, from the purchase, is actually going to exceed what I bought, the tires. So my 1% cash back purchase, the sats that I got from that is actually going to be worth more than the price that I paid for it in 10 or 20 years from now. So yeah, Fold is great for that. You can also actually earn back on Bitrefill. Like the Original Joe's that I was talking about, the restaurant that I go to every week, you get 3% back in sats if you buy a gift card from Original Joe's. So it's kind of hard not to do that. So here's the link, Frank, right there. The crazy thing is though, and this is why I kind of stopped using Bitrefill, is because last time I talked about Bitrefill on the channel, I shared my referral code and they suspended my account. They thought that it was something suspicious happening there, like bots or something, because there were so many people who signed up for the using my link that day. They suspended my account. Sorry, Bitrefill. Speaking of dipshits, actually, no, I shouldn't say that. They run a solid operation there. I didn't like that. Paul says use Bitrefill for Instacart first. Worked perfect. Ready to use Lightning for Best Buy toys. Ah, man, I saw Best Buy on there, and I got this. I don't know if you can see it or not. This is my new operating system here, pretty much. Because with the new Macs, you need USB-C only. So I had to get this thing from Best Buy. It cost me almost $200. And I wish I could have done that. I wish I could have paid for it in sats. I wish I would have known about that. But yes, good to know. Very good to know. I mean, it makes sense, right? Whether it's gas, restaurants, Best Buy, Home Depot's on there, Instacart, pretty much anything. Airbnb, if you're going on a trip, buy a gift card with Bitrefill and get some sats back. And you can do it without the banks. Because you know how we feel about the banks around here. Anyways, let's catch up on some Zapstream comments because the Zapstream is buzzing today. Night says you don't even need to create an account on Bitrefill. Yeah, I mean, I think you have to have an email address, but you don't need to put in your phone number or any sort of like your real name. So what I would do if you do need an account on there, just make a brand new email address and only use that for it. Like spin up a brand new Proton account and use that for your Bitrefill if you need to. I don't know if you need to. Sergio says buying Chevron gift cards lets you get guess up and get points off the gas. Wow. Great option. Downside only lets you fuel up at Chevron. Yeah. That makes sense. We don't have Chevrons here in Canada, but there's Esso on there for Canada. So it's the same kind of thing. Rez says first time tuning in from, is that Argentina? Looks like an Argentina flag. Welcome. Good to have you here, my friend. Sergio says, can't wait for grocery stores to add sats as a cheaper option of purchase. Yeah, that's coming. And I think that what comes from that, like kind of my whole theory on that is that I think that, you know, we're going to see some traction here with businesses and companies like Steak and Shake, who are kind of doing it as like a first mover, kind of like marketing play, which is smart, but that's only going to last for so long. And then we're going to move to like most people are accepting Bitcoin, probably offering some sort of a discount there for people paying in Bitcoin. And then finally, we're going to get to a point where merchants only accept Bitcoin. Because you just have to think logically about it. As more and more people wake up to the fact that fiat money is garbage, like literally backed by nothing, useless, illusionary money, as more and more people wake up to that, those people also add value to the world in the form of they own businesses, they have different products and services. And so when those people are orange pilled and they start realizing what's happening here, they're only going to accept Bitcoin because why would they take fiat? There's also going to come a point in time where you can't exchange Bitcoin for fiat anymore. So all this is going to just like, that's why I think that Saylor's 21 million in 21 years is like so undervalued. Because we haven't even scratched the surface on Bitcoin yet. Like we're not even anywhere. The cool thing is that things are being built for when people show up, but like this thing hasn't even started yet, not even close. Otis says the best way to earn sats is make a lot of fiat. That's a good point. Make a lot of fiat, and that's, I think the trick there though, Otis, is that a lot of people who are earning fiat with like a salary or something, what the problem that they run into is that they get a promotion or they get a pay increase or whatever it is, a bonus maybe. And they just kind of keep upgrading their lifestyle as that happens, right? So you might go from making like 70K a year to 80K a year to 100K to 150K. And as your wage goes up, most people kind of upgrade their lifestyle with that. They get a new house, they start doing renovations, they get 2 new vehicles, they start taking all these trips. And then they're just like never really getting ahead. They're just always stuck on the hamster wheel. So yes, I do agree in the sense that that's the best way to earn sats if you're actually living humble and to your means while putting the rest into Bitcoin. And I have no doubt that Otis is, but I don't think that the other 99.9% of the world are. Sergio says Steak and Shake will show quarterly earnings and others will likely follow suit. Yes, I agree. There's no way around fast food joints and grocery stores don't follow that option. 100%. And kind of the main reason for that is because they don't really need to train their staff on it at some point because, you know, a lot of this stuff is automated already. You go to the grocery store, you can check out with a kiosk with a screen. Every time I go to the grocery, well, in the city anyways, We don't have those in my small town here, but it's nice to do a bit of both. But every time I'm in the city, I'm just so tired of seeing so many people in there. I just go to self-checkout. And with that, you don't need to train employees on it. That's just another option for payment. Just like Steak and Shake has their kiosk there where you put in your order, you select Lightning, you scan the QR code, paid. There's no risk. There's no risk at all. It would just be like a plug-in or something to their already existing infrastructure. There's no training of employees. It's just you either use it or you don't, but you have the option to do it. And it's a no-brainer. The thing that I'm curious about is like how much of the sats is Steak and Shake actually going to be keeping? That's going to be the big difference for them. Like, yeah, it's cool. They're going to get a bunch of traffic early on, but as more and more restaurants start doing it, that's going to fade away. But all that really matters is how much sats are they actually keeping from each transaction. Because if they kept every sat that they've earned so far from this initiative, they're going to be so far ahead in 5 or 10 years from now, just with the sats that they accumulated from that. So here's what I want to talk about today. Because one thing that came out in the news yesterday was, who's this guy? The U.S. Department of Federal Housing. Here, let me bring this up. So the U.S. Federal Housing Agency is exploring Bitcoin as a valid asset for mortgage approval. America is embracing Bitcoin. Massive. So here's my prediction. I think that in 10 years' time from now, maybe even less, might be 5, but every single mortgage is going to have some Bitcoin component to it. And I say that for a couple different reasons. We're going to watch a video here in just a sec of the way to think about it. And there's a company who's already doing this in the US, but it's just going to make sense for the banks because the housing market, I think, is going to go through a really rough patch over the next decade. Because there's so many changing dynamics right now, right? There's going to be a lot of people whose jobs are replaced by AI. And when you think about it, when you play that whole thing out in your head, think about why people live places nowadays. Like most people, wherever they're living, it's probably because they have a job there for the most part. Some people grow up in a town, they never leave, they just find work there. But a lot of people are in specific locations because of their job. And so as things change between everybody being connected, everybody being able to work from home for the most part, as humans get replaced by AI for some of these mundane jobs, they're not going to have to live there anymore. And so some of these towns are going to see a huge exodus of people because they don't have jobs there that were keeping them in that community before. And so I think that the housing market is going to become extremely volatile in the next little while simply for that reason. Because again, AIs don't need houses. And if AIs start taking over 10% of jobs and then 20% and then 30%, think about where all the humans are going to go. They're no longer going to be tethered to where they work. They're going to be able to live wherever they want to. So I think that some towns are actually going to boom and some towns are actually going to have a massive exodus from them because of that. So with that in mind, banks are going to want something that's more stable. And we're kind of going through the volatile part of Bitcoin right now. As it moves from a collectible to a store of value to a medium of exchange to a unit of account, once it becomes like a unit of account, that's when everything kind of changes here. And I don't know how far away we are from that. I think it's going to happen faster than people think. But the point there is that banks are going to want something stable on the loan. Any debt that you take out with the bank, any credit that you take on, they're going to want something stable. And houses aren't going to be able to accomplish that anymore. They're just not. And the other thing about houses from a banker's perspective is that if you're holding Bitcoin as a component on your mortgage, then if you start missing any payments, and this also ties in with people losing their jobs, because as those jobs are taken by AI and robots, they're going to have a hard time meeting their mortgage obligations, making their payments to the bank. And so the banks are going to want something that they can instantly draw from, which is Bitcoin. So again, if the client or the customer were to miss a payment or two, the bank could just simply sell some of their Bitcoin and pay off the mortgage payment for that month or that 2 months. So it's going to be a big component of mortgages going forward. I really don't know how long it takes, but I want to watch this video here that it's about 6 months old now, but it's still extremely relevant today and very exciting, I think. This guy's talking about taking a home equity line of credit. Basically New Market Capital, this Andrew Hones guy, he's been making a lot of waves in Bitcoin lately. But his whole point here is that, or what they do at New Market is I'll just let him explain it and then we can talk about it after. It's 6 minutes long, but it is a very revolutionary idea here.
Continue crypto conversation. Price of Bitcoin this morning got very close to 100,000. Join us now, Andrew Hones, New Market Capital founder and CEO. And today, New Market is announcing Battery Finance. It's a Bitcoin-focused asset management platform that combines cryptocurrency and other assets. I won't say real assets because that sounds funny, doesn't it? It's like, something other than Bitcoin, like a real asset. I'm not
tangible. How about
tangible? Let's call it tangible. And the first, you've got to explain this to us. The first time you're combining Bitcoin to actually make maybe loans, which, why don't you explain it? Because it takes some of the problem that you normally have with lending, which is inflation, I guess, and it could actually lessen the risk and volatility for fiduciaries running pension plans.
Yeah.
Hard to believe Bitcoin could be a solution to pension fund management.
That's what we're thinking. Well, good morning, Joe, Becky, Andrew. I'm so pleased to be here. And I'm really excited to announce today on Squawk Box this loan that we've just completed. We combined a seasoned multifamily asset in Philadelphia, about 50 meters away from the first.
I mean, just look at this dude. You ever get vibes from just watching people on, like, even through a computer screen? Like, it just seems like this guy has the smirk, the grin, the confidence that he's in the right spot. He's at the right spot at the right time. He knows it. And you can just tell with his body language and his tone that he knows that this is where the world is moving to. And he knows that he's going to be like the trailblazer in this market. You can just tell. I mean, maybe not, but I can sense that from him.
Bank of the United States, the one that Alexander Hamilton started. We combined that asset with around 20 Bitcoin. And we provided a loan to refinance the existing mortgage on the property to provide the asset sponsor.
Hard to believe Bitcoin could be a solution to pension fund management.
That's what we're thinking. Well, good morning, Joe, Becky, Andrew. I'm so pleased to be here. And I'm really excited to announce today on Squawk Box this loan that we've just completed. We combined a seasoned multifamily asset in Philadelphia, about 50 meters away from the First Bank of the United States, the one that Alexander Hamilton started. We combined that asset with around 20 Bitcoin. And we provided a loan to refinance the existing mortgage on the property, to provide the asset sponsor some funding for capital improvements, and with the remainder to buy the 20 Bitcoin.
Okay, we got to go backwards.
Go ahead.
You got to go backwards. We're just going to slow the whole thing down so everybody understands what happened. Okay, so there's a property.
Yep.
Physical property.
Multifamily.
Right? It's a multifamily,
63 units.
It's a multifamily property. The sponsor, effectively the owner of that property, needs a loan.
That's right.
Okay, they come to you.
That's right.
Okay, you say, we'll provide you the loan in the form of
a loan,
a classic loan.
That's right.
Okay, so you're going to give them cash.
That's right. Term financing.
Term financing. And how long's the loan? Just
10 years.
10-year loan. Okay.
That's right.
At above market rate or below, or what's
no market rate interest rate?
I'm just trying to slow the whole thing. Okay, now let's introduce the Bitcoin piece into it.
That's right.
So no, explain how the Bitcoin piece then relates. So the loan has been provided.
The use of proceeds is to pay off the existing financing. So
the use of the proceeds
of the loan is to retire the existing mortgage.
Right. So there's an old mortgage.
Gone.
They're going to pay the old mortgage off.
That's been paid off.
Okay.
Now they have a little bit extra money to make some improvements in the property.
Right. So a little bit extra cash. So the amount of money you've lent pays off the old loan.
That's right.
It's also you have a little bit of extra to fix
Improve
stuff
the
up.
property, fix
Okay.
stuff up.
Yep.
And then with the remainder, which is a little bit
So you
more,
have even a little extra, an
That's
extra
right.
turn.
and that instead of cash out,
Uh-huh.
Bitcoin in. And we use it to purchase some Bitcoin and add it to the collateral package of the loan. So now our loan is supported by both the traditional asset, the 63 unit apartment building,
Right.
and the Bitcoin.
So the loan, it was maybe $2 million more. So that's how you get the
Exactly.
Bitcoin out.
Exactly right. So it's
On the assumption that the Bitcoin's going to rise faster and that will become an asset. That's,
over the life of the loan for sure. So we think on the downside, this provides us with much better protection compared to a traditional lender, because a traditional lender, if something goes wrong, they have to recover against that particular building, which is idiosyncratic risk. Something might happen with the maintenance or
But
what
that
have you.
also requires conviction on your end that Bitcoin is not a volatile asset
Over
and
time.
over time,
Over time.
and that is either going to go up or at least stay where it is.
Well, that's by fusing the Bitcoin with credit and by fusing it with traditionally financeable assets, it gives us the luxury of expressing that medium-term view on Bitcoin. And that's what's key. It's volatile in the short run. You know, I mean, minute by minute today, who knows? It could cross 100,000. That would be
how
exciting.
long's the loan?
10 years.
10 years.
So
And the minimum hold period for the Bitcoin is 4 years. So what we say to the borrower is we say, look, you can repay the loan at any time for any reason with no penalty, which is a really valuable feature compared to a traditional loan.
Yeah, that's like a home mortgage. That,
Like a home mortgage almost. That's very unusual for commercial financing. But what we do say is that to the extent that the loan is repaid at year 4 or earlier, the minimum will release the property. But the minimum length of time that the Bitcoin has to stay in escrow is 4 years.
Andrew, go on to, because I don't know how much time we have, but I'm fascinated about, there is a problem for state and municipalities in terms of the asset liability mix. Somehow you think that using Bitcoin, that you can lower that risk and increase returns and narrow the gap. How does that work for pensions?
Well, if you think about it, Joe, the average exposure to fixed income at U.S. pensions is around 25 to 30%.
Okay.
And many of them have an asset liability funding mismatch of around 25% as well. They're a big shortfall. That's going to be a big burden on taxpayers and a real problem.
We've talked about this so much and how to solve it.
Now, what they've been doing in credit is reaching for risk, going for super high yields, leverage, niche strategies. And I think that it's time to pivot away from those toward high quality credit, where the return per unit of risk is extremely attractive, but the returns are not as high. How do you compensate for that? You fuse the credit with Bitcoin, and you utilize the credit to express a medium to long-term duration. Because yes, if you have the Bitcoin for 1 day, 1 week, it's extremely volatile. But for 4 years, 4-year hold period, the worst ever return has been just over 23%. The 5th percentile, 30%. The 50th percentile, 91%. So if you take a small amount of Bitcoin and you add it to a large amount of high quality credit in novel lending solutions, novel structured credit pairings, what you can accomplish from an asset allocation and an overall portfolio strategy perspective is incredible. It can actually be a cornerstone to close the asset liability gap at pensions.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so we're not going to stop there. We're going to actually break this down a little bit just to see what we can make of this on a spreadsheet. Why not? Why wouldn't we? Let's take a look at what this actually looks like, because it's a little bit easier to follow, I think, when you can see what's happening here. So we're going to make this up on the go here. So right now, so let's say existing mortgage. So let's say that we have the asset, which in this case was an apartment building. And let's say that that's worth $2 million. $2 million. That's what the value of it is. If they were to go sell it tomorrow, they would expect to get $2 million for that asset. Let's say that the existing mortgage is $1 million. $1 million. So this would be pretty similar to like most people's houses, I would say. Like maybe it's worth 400,000, maybe they still owe 200,000 on it. So their net equity in that mortgage is $1 million. Keep it very simple here for everybody and myself. So 1 million bucks. Let's spruce this up a little bit, make it look nice. So that's what the equity that the owners had in the apartment building, 1 million bucks. So what this Newmarket does, and I think that this is it's a good term for it, because I think that this is the way that the market will look in the future. Newmarket says, okay, well, we're going to give you 2 million bucks. So they take a mortgage out for 2 million bucks on the value of the asset. So basically, Newmarket is going to pay off the existing mortgage. The heck? Pay off the existing mortgage. So minus $1 million work equals. Whoa. Hard to do spreadsheets, even harder to do on the fly here. So then, of course, we have our leftover. So they would basically have $1 million here, because again, Newmarket said, okay, we're going to pay off the old mortgage. We're going to give you 2 million bucks because that's what the asset is worth here. We're going to pay off the existing mortgage at the bank. And you're going to have $1 million here that you can play around with, except we're going to tell you what you play around with here. You're going to buy some Bitcoin. So 20 Bitcoin. Well, the loans must have been more than this, because they said they got 20 Bitcoin and it probably was worth 60K. So let's say we're buying $800,000 worth of Bitcoin. $800,000 worth of Bitcoin. And also improvements to the property. They're going to put 80% to the Bitcoin and 20% to improving the property. So that seems like a pretty good strategy to me, because when they put $200,000 worth of improvements, that now essentially makes the value of the apartment probably 2.2 million versus 2 million, assuming they're all capital improvements that actually add value to the mortgage, or to the property, I mean. But here's the key to it. Here's the key to this mortgage. So now all of a sudden you have, this is what it looks like right off the bat. So 2025, you have your property worth 2 million. You have your Bitcoin worth 800,000. And you have your property is now actually 2.2 because you did some improvements to it. And you have your mortgage of 2 million. So your net here is going to be worth what? $1 million, just like when you started here. You had net equity of $1 million. And now at the end of it, you have net equity of $1 million. So nothing really changes off the bat. They just kind of restructured their assets. So instead of sitting on $1 million worth of net equity or $1 million worth of cash, now they have it in the property and in Bitcoin. So now we go to reverse CAGR calculation here. And so we're actually going to start with $800,000 because that's the value of our Bitcoin. We're going to go very conservative here, 30% CAGR every year, and it's a 10-year loan. So you're going to see how this plays out here. So at the end of this loan, this Bitcoin is going to be worth, I wish they had freaking commas on here, $11 million. So that would be in 2035. 2035, this is going to look a little bit different now because we're still going to have our property in this mortgage. This is where it gets crazy. So you still have the property on this mortgage. Let's say it increased by, I don't know, maybe 10%. I don't think real estate's going to go up too much over the next decade, but we'll say it had a 10% increase over time, over 10 years. Probably a little bit more than that, but who knows? Maybe it's a shitty neighborhood. But now your Bitcoin is worth What, 11 million? At 1.1 or 11? I think that's 1.1. You have your Bitcoin worth 11 million. Your mortgage should be pretty much paid off, or at least a third of it would be paid off. I think it's a 10-year term. I'm not sure how that would work, but we'll just say it's worth $1 million. It's pretty irrelevant at this point, honestly. Whether it's $1 million or it's zero, I'm guessing they would probably pay it off. If the Bitcoin went to $1 million that they're holding, they would probably just pay off the mortgage at that point. So now you're left with net equity of $12 million, 12,420. And keep in mind here that throughout this whole thing, the bank had very good capital, very good collateral, because if you ended up missing any payments, they could just sell some of your Bitcoin. So not only is it like a huge net increase in like the owner's equity here, but it's also way better from the lender's perspective, in this case being New Market Capital, because they have a way to ensure that regardless if you miss any payments, your mortgage is still going to get paid. Oh shit, I was on the wrong tab. Sorry, everybody. Sorry about that. So you can see it here. I don't know how much of this we missed here, but so 2025, again, once you do this, basically there's no change, right? You just swap it from the equity in the property to be into Bitcoin and property improvements. And your net equity is still $1 million, just like what we started with at the top there. But after 10 years, based on a 30% CAGR, compound annual growth rate, now you have an increase in property. It's probably worth a little bit more than that. I said 10% increase, but your Bitcoin's worth $11 million on your mortgage now. So your net equity is either going to be $13.4 million or $12.4 million, depending on whether or not you pay off your mortgage in that 10 years. So that's kind of the future of finance, my friends. And the reason I say that is because it just makes sense. It just makes sense. And again, he did a very good job of explaining it there, where Bitcoin is volatile, but over the long run, it's not that volatile. And if you started putting in numbers like 40%, 50%, like this gets even crazier. So that's why I say that this is the future of lending and of finance, because it just makes sense. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. I want to give a couple shout outs here though, for some zaps that were received. We had 1,000 sats from Plunger. Showed up and said, "Good morning, team." Sergio says, "Good morning, Plunger." And Plunger says, "Good morning, Sergio." Nice. And we got a couple zaps to Arnie Boy's wallet today. Look at this. Fatty. Fat one. 4,321. 4321. From Daisy to Arnie. Arnie. Didn't even lift his head. From Pauly D. Thank you, Pauly D. And Daisy. Thank you. And somebody also sent 288 sats anonymously. So thank you for that, whoever that was. Very much appreciated. Okay, let's get to a couple comments here. Otis says, once again, as we're teaching others about Bitcoin, we're also teaching basic finance concepts. Yes, truth. True. Because you can't really understand Bitcoin unless you understand basic money. And I'll tell you one thing, after going through college, university, my CPA, master's, and living with a guy who was a CEO of a bank or a credit union for 30 years, I knew nothing about money until Bitcoin. Jake says, did you get cash back on the spinners for your tires? I did not get spinners on my tires. This is in 2003. Buck52 says, I sold an item on Facebook for $4,000 yesterday. Wow. Dude showed up with $20 bills. Would have been so much easier with Bitcoin. No doubt. My God. What a shit show. Just think about that whole transaction there, right? Like the guy would have had to go to the bank and pull out $4,000 out of the ATM. Huge red flag for one. The bank probably asked him what you needed the money for. Has to get it in $20 bills. So he took time out of his day to go to the bank, withdraw the cash. I'm assuming anyways. Count it, come to you, drive to you, pay you. You have to count it. You have to deposit it. It's like we're cavemen still living in the finance system right now. Like we might as well be trading fucking seashells. Honestly. And, if Bitcoin didn't exist, we might not even know any better, but it's like we live in this system now. Everything that I do pretty much is in Bitcoin. And it's like, I can't even deal with how archaic the system is that 99% still live in. It's insane to me. It's insane. Clark says, but anyways, $1.52. Hopefully you turn that into sats instantly with a nice non-KYC ATM. Clark says 17.6 year real estate cycle about to downturn, in my opinion. I agree. Which makes something like that even more needed. Link to the video so I can share it with someone. I can't find it on YouTube. I think I saw that you found it there, but I'll share it anyways for everybody else who isn't. Oh, and you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put my Bitrefill link in the Zapstream. Oops, sorry, Zapstream. I'll put it in there right now. I'll copy the clean link for you and put it in the Zapstream if you want it. Spaceman says, is the stream no longer uploaded to YouTube? No. It is on there on Mondays. And then everything else is on the Living in the Future community and on Zapstream. Because I like Zapstream. And if people want to show up, they know how to find us. Buck52 says, was he the one talking about BIC bonds a while ago? Yes, same guy, Andrew Hone. Very, very intelligent fella. Buck52 says, Jor, it looks like you need to raise some capital. What's funny? I'll tell you a little inside baseball here. So our Maple Bitcoin channel, we've been buying some Bitcoin. We're going to be having a community. We've been getting a little bit of money from YouTube. And so we've been starting kind of our own little Bitcoin reserve with Maple Bitcoin. And anyways, last week, one of the guys, I don't need to mention names here, but one of the guys is like, if we keep buying Bitcoin and we keep, earning money on our shows and stuff like that, we might be able to take this thing public as like a media company. And my first thought was like, that's insane. But then I was like, you know what? Assuming we keep earning money that we put into Bitcoin and that Bitcoin keeps appreciating, I don't know how long it would take, but like, it's not out of the question. It's not out of the picture by any means. Not that I love the idea of going public because there's just so much bullshit involved with that, but it would be a good way to raise more capital, to buy more Bitcoin and get even, have a bigger reach even from there. So you never know. You never know what's going to happen with it. But again, I thought it sounded crazy right off the hop, but then I did some thinking on it and I was like, you know what? Might be something there. Anyways, Gronky Tonk Man says, let's go. I made a live show. Ever since I've started listening to your show, I feel like sats are flowing to me. I try to give back what I can, and I think that's giving good karma. Love that. Man, there's nothing like giving. I don't know. It's really hard to explain, but when you give somebody something, especially something like Bitcoin, it just feels good. Like when I zap somebody on Nostr or I zap like Jerry's show, it just feels good. Because, people are working here. People are doing their best to grow the Bitcoin network. And, it's not an easy road. And I can tell you that firsthand. It's not an easy path to take. But I do think that it is a very worthwhile one. So that could be sats. That could be anything. Anytime you give somebody something, it just feels really good. And yes, you do get some good karma, I believe anyways. But anyways, speaking of that, I wanted to share this with you because one of our favorite guys here has started his own YouTube channel. Where is it? I watched the video this morning. There it is right there. Look at this fella. Look at this view. My God. My God. Financial advisors doomed, Daniel says. That is beautiful and really good video today this as well, Daniel. So this is Daniel. He is one of the advisors at Bitcoin Citadel. And I'm going to share his link for you to, if you don't mind. Again, anytime you're talking about Bitcoiners here, YouTube channels, all that kind of stuff, make sure that you just go support them. That should be your first knee-jerk reaction, is just go support the Bitcoiners. And so I shared Daniel's link there for his YouTube channel. But again, you don't have to, it's not for everything. Like, it's not written in stone. If, let's say that you subscribe to Daniel's channel and Daniel says something that you don't agree with or you don't like, pissed you off, then unsubscribe. But give them the benefit of the doubt. If you have a Bitcoin channel that's specifically talking about Bitcoin and trying to grow the network and trying to help people, our first reaction should be to subscribe and to support them. So that's my ask of you today. Very simple. And yeah, I'm sure Daniel would appreciate it. And he kind of inspired me. I was thinking about doing a show on the deck today just to test things out, because I got some new mics, and maybe I'll have Arnie out there with me, and maybe I'll make a video with our favorite view, or my favorite view anyways. I don't know if it's your favorite view or not, but with that in the background, I think that'd be kind of cool. What do you think, Arn? Should we? No movement. No movement from Arnie boy today. Guy's dead. Dead to the world. Buck52 says smart lenders will be able to hedge a volatile housing market with this. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Gronky Tonk Man says, I sent 288 sats. Thank you. And left to know, do they not show up on your end? That didn't. I don't know why. Where did you send it from? Speed? But I do see we got a little fat zap here. A couple. Letha zapped 1,000 sats, not to be outdone by Plunger. Thank you, Letha. And LaughPad also sent in 2,843 sats for our daily coffee average. So let's go to our DCA here today and see what if the price of Bitcoin is up or down. June 24th. Oh, I got to text my childhood best friend today. It's his birthday. But either way, thank you, Gronky Tonk Man. Appreciate that. So June 24th today, and we got 2,843 sats. Wow, looks like the price of Bitcoin has done pretty well in the last 24 hours since the last time we talked. Thank you, LaughPad. So 28.43. Yesterday was 29.31. So this is a $3 coffee in fiat terms. Yesterday it bought 2,931 sats, and today less, pretty much 1,000 or 100 sats less. Thank you, LaughPad. And if you're watching this on Zapstream and don't know how to zap, or you're watching this on YouTube and don't know how to use a QR code, you can also send it just by typing that in there. Very easy address to remember, 88sats@speed.app. One other thing I wanted to share here is a video, partially the reason I was late today. I had some issues with this, but here's the video. I did a little bit different one yesterday. Filmed this yesterday, but posted it today. So I titled this one, the easiest and longest path to become a millionaire. So go check this one out. It basically says that you need 550 sats per day. That's it. You want to get to 1 million sats? I mean, if you want to get to a Bitcoin, you times that by 100. You want to get to 10 million Bitcoin, you times that by 10. But if you want to be you get to 1 million sats in the next 5 years, you only need 550 sats per day. We don't need 2 jars on the screen here. But there it is. Okay, what else we have here, folks? Laughpad says, holy guacamole, I just woke up. Sleepyhead Laughpad. Maple Sailor. The funny thing is that I found an account on Twitter called Maple Strategy. And it seems like they're trying to be like the Canadian version of Strategy. But the funny thing is that I think that Maple Bitcoin is going to have more sats than them over the long run. Because we're building something I think that's going to be pretty good, pretty special in the future. And we're going to continue. It'll be a sats flow, not a sats purchase. It'll be a sats flow. And I think flow always wins. Maple Nakamoto. That background is gorgeous. Daniel is legit. I agree. Outdoor videos with Jordan Arn sounds incredible. Okay, well, if he wakes up today, we'll go do a video maybe outside today. I sent from Speed. You are most welcome. How do I zap? You just go to Zap. You can go to zap.stream, but I think you need a Nostr account. Think. Send on there. Not 100%. Not 100%. Buck52 says 500. Is that a zap that just came in? Yes, 500 sats from Buck52. Thank you to our Speed wallet. And look at this. We got Cleaner Machine here. Speaking of Cleaner Machine sent a zap of 2,500 sats yesterday that I think came in after the show. So we didn't see it. But thank you, Ian. Thank you, Cleaner Machine. Very much appreciated. Okay. Well, did we have anything else? I don't know. What else did we have? I don't think so. So anyways, Mert says, amazing channel. Highly recommend Hash Power Academy. I've heard that actually. I've heard that before. Hash Power. I don't know how you shared a link on there. How did you do that? I thought we could only share links on Nostr. Anyways, I think I'm going to hit the road here. I got a meeting in 7 minutes, and I actually might be on time for a meeting for once. I shouldn't say that. I'm usually on time, but I usually leave it like last second. So we got a couple verifications here. Hash Power Academy is legit. So there you go. Go check out Hash Power Academy. Although I'm not going to say that because I've never watched it myself. So if you trust Mert, if you trust Lapad, then you can go watch Hash Power Academy. Anyways, we're going to hit the road here. Maybe Arnie and I will do a video today outside. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'd have to figure out. I don't know how to do it. I don't have a tripod or anything. So I'd have to rig something up. But we might do it. So keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, you got a nice 10-minute video on the channel this morning talking about a good way to think about sats. And you can send that to your friends and family who are trying to get to 1 million sats. But anyways, Lapad says, Hash Power Academy makes me feel like a dummy. Good to know. Good to know. Jay says, thanks, Jor. Thanks, everybody on the Zap stream today for showing up, for the support. And don't forget to like, don't forget to love. And if you're on Zap stream, don't forget to zap. Or on the YouTubes. So I hope you all have an amazing day today. Thank you once again for being here. I hope you enjoyed the show today. It was a lot of fun. I think we'll look back on this episode today as in 10 years from now, they'll be like, those guys knew what they were talking about. They could see the future. They were technically living in the future already. So have yourselves an amazing day once again. Enjoy your Tuesday. And we will be right back here first thing tomorrow for Wild Card Wednesday. So we'll see how that goes. Our first Wild Card Wednesday. All right, everybody. Thank you once again. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Barney's up. Hey. Okay. Bye-bye.